And today we look at inflation as Dajjal's most dangerous weapon. What is inflation? In a free and a fair market, prices will rise and prices will fall based on demand and supply. But when prices are going only up and up and up, one-way traffic, that is called inflation. Constantly rising prices. And sometimes we have something called runaway inflation, where the prices rise astronomically and rapidly. What is it that causes this? Why is it that you do not have prices rising and falling based on demand and supply? What is wrong with this market that we now have this strange thing called inflation? Answer: inflation is directly connected with the money which you're using. Does paper money and plastic money and electronic money have any intrinsic value? No. But money in the Quran and money in the Sunnah is always money with intrinsic value. Which hadith did we use to demonstrate that money in the Quran and money in the Sunnah always has intrinsic value? Which hadith did we use? Gold for gold, silver for silver, wheat for wheat, barley for barley, dates for dates, salt for salt. How do we explain this? Answer: when a transaction involves an exchange of gold for gold, or silver for silver, or wheat for wheat, or barley for barley, or dates for dates, or salt for salt, once it is like for like, it must be equal for equal. Meaning if you have 2 kilograms on this side, you must have 2 on this side. And it must be hand for hand, meaning it must be a cash transaction. It cannot be credit transaction. Other than that, it would be riba. So from this hadith we know, we have to start once again with the definition of money. Money in the Quran and Sunnah is always either precious metals, gold and silver, or commodities, food consumption. And you have to tell me what is the implication of that. Why this emphasis on food, non-perishable food, food with a shelf life, and food with abundant supply in the market, wheat, barley, dates, salt. I want you to think, if that is still possible today, in this age of universal ignorance, pathetic age of sheep and cattle and goats and camels. At this age I could talk like this. Why? On such an important thing as the definition of money. What constitutes money? That the Prophet ﷺ and the market in Medina would turn to articles of food consumption which have a shelf life, which is an abundant supply in the market, as money when gold and silver are in short supply. Why did they choose food? The implication of this hadith is that money in the Quran and Sunnah always has intrinsic value. This was yesterday's lecture. What is the meaning of intrinsic value? The value of the money is in the money. The value of the money is created by Allah. That value can fluctuate based on demand and supply, but at the base, the value is created by Allah. So long as we use this money, there was never any inflation in the world. Except, when did we experience inflation in the world while using gold and silver as money? When they started to give us dhoka. What is the English translation for dhoka? To deceive us, to take us for a ride. This coin is supposed to have so many grams of gold or silver in it, but they would chip the coin to make the coin less in weight. they would add an alloy to the coin so that it's no longer pure gold or silver. See? And from the time the king did that, or the government did that, there would be inflation. The Ottoman Empire, despite many sinful things that it did, in that they had a market with police in the market, and the police in the market, and also they had a magistrate in the market. So when they caught you chipping a coin or debasing a coin, you would be arrested and you'd be taken before the magistrate, you'd be tried, found guilty, and punished right there in the market. But that's not the inflation we have today. The inflation that we have today is because our enemies prohibited us from using the money which is halal. Allah made it halal, and which is sunnah. Prohibited us from using that, made it haram, and replaced it with bogus money. If you make haram what Allah made halal, what sin is that? Shirk. The one sin Allah will not forgive. And if we accept this money, no problem. We have the money, we eat our biryani, we go home and sleep. Then do we not also join in the shirk? The sheep and the cattle and the goats and the camels don't recognize it. And when you come to teach them, they shut the doors of the masjid on you. So it is because they brought bogus money in the market, money that they could manipulate, that this money started falling in value. And as the money fell in value, prices were constantly rising. I told you when I went to study in Pakistan, Pakistan was only 17 years old, still a teenager when I went, 1964. And $1 was what? 1 rupee? 75 paisas. And you could run your home. All the expenses for the home could be managed in 500 rupees. That's all you needed. And from 1 rupee 75 paisa, how much is it today? Whatever it is, if you still cannot recognize that you've been ripped off, Dajjal is destroying you, go back to school. As the value of money falls, prices rise.